I'm one of those people who is way too sensitive to how a game feels when moving the camera. So believe me when I tell you that when I booted up Requiem for the first time, I was met with some of the worst feeling aiming and camera movement I've experienced in a long time. Now I know this won't affect everyone. I'm aware that I'm talking to maybe 10% of the gaming sickos out there. And before we go any further, this was tested on PlayStation 5 and PC using a controller. If you're playing on keyboard and mouse, you can relax. This probably doesn't apply to you. Mouse input doesn't deal with the same acceleration curves and dead zone nonsense. So congrats on your superior life choices. If Requiem's camera, aim, and movement feel a little off on controller, here's a list of settings you can change to make the game feel much better. If it already feels fine to you, congrats, your brain isn't broken. First up, let's go over what settings we actually have to work with, because there are a lot. With both Leon and Grace playable in first and third person, that means right off the bat that there are 4 different camera types. And let me be clear, Grace's first person camera is the problem. Leon's camera feels mostly fine. Third person for both characters, also mostly fine. Could they be tighter? Sure, but they're playable. Grace's first person camera, however, that's where things go a bit off the rails, which is a problem because you'll be playing as her a lot. It's worth noting that Leon's first person camera would have these issues as well, except for I don't think very many people will play Leon in first person. But if you do, then these settings will work for him too. It just feels bad. It's super floaty, it takes what feels like a half second to even see movement when you touch the right stick, and the ramp up is incredibly sluggish. I know Grace is supposed to be the more inexperienced one, but come on man. So we're gonna start there. The first thing that we're doing is going into Grace's first person settings and cranking the acceleration to max. I'm not a fan of camera ramp up, and maxing this out removes that sluggish feeling when the camera starts slow and eventually crawls to full speed. I hate it, and now it's gone. Now, when you move the camera, it instantly moves at the speed you set. We like that in this house. That alone fixes most of what's wrong with Grace's first-person camera, and again, that is the big offender here. For aiming, I opted to remove the acceleration ramp up here as well. This one is slightly more forgivable to keep at default, since some players like a bit of ramp up when aiming with controller. Not me though, so she's gone. With acceleration turned off, the camera might feel a little too fast or too slow now. Personally, I like bumping the speed up just a bit. Requiem constantly has you scanning rooms for loot, whipping around and running from zombies, so I'd prefer slightly faster camera movement. But this is a personal preference. Tweak it until it feels right for you. Now we head to the controls menu, where we find the true villain of this story, right stick deadzone. I didn't even realize this setting existed for the first few hours. I was just slightly unhappy, but coping. Did it feel sluggish? Sure, but I'm playing on console. Even on a 120Hz OLED in low latency mode, I know it's not going to match a 144Hz or 240Hz PC setup with a mouse. Still, we try. Anyways, Deadzone. For anyone unfamiliar, Deadzone is the developer's solution to stick drift. The larger the dead zone, the more you have to tilt the stick before the game registers movement. For people like me, I can feel when the stick isn't responding instantly. When I move the right stick, I want the camera to move right now, not after it clears some invisible buffer zone. That said, Deadzone isn't pure evil. It exists to combat the stick drift, which, let's be honest, most controllers seem to develop eventually. Lowering it too much could cause your camera to drift on its own. On both PS5 and PC using a controller, I dropped the right stick deadzone all the way down to 5. The default is 25. That's a massive difference. At 5, my camera feels instant and snappy. If you start getting phantom movements, bump it up to 7. Even that's dramatically better than 25. Finally, still in controls, there's the sensitivity curve type. Because we already changed deadzone, acceleration, and speed so much, especially for Grace's first-person camera, the 5 options here don't feel wildly different anymore. I'm chasing snappy, responsive movement, not the sensation of dragging my camera through molasses, so I went with smooth. It might be a placebo, I don't care, it feels good. And since I'm a big fan of consistency, I copied these settings across every perspective for both characters. Like I said earlier, third person does mostly feel fine by default. If you're playing the intended way, Grace in first person and Leon in third, you probably don't need to change much else outside of Grace's first person settings, since that's really where the bulk of the issues live. Now, we could stop there, but let's go a little further, just in case things still feel weird. Grace's first-person camera has intentional head wobble. If it's making you motion sick or just messing with your aim, go into the camerawork settings and turn it down, or off entirely. This gives you much more stable control over what you're looking at. And finally, auto-aim. I know, some of you don't want to hear it. It can absolutely make the game easier, but there's no shame here. If you're still missing shots after fixing Grace's first-person settings, aim assist can help. Under controls, aim assist is off by default. That means your accuracy is 100% on you. Before going full nuclear, try increasing reticle deceleration. It's set to 0 by default. Raising it will slightly slow your aim when you're over an enemy. It won't snap to them, but it lowers the sensitivity just enough to help you land shots. If that's still not enough, you can enable full aim assist. You've got aim snap, which locks onto the enemy when you press aim, and aim follow, which tracks them, nearly guaranteeing hits. You can even adjust the assist level, with level 10 basically giving you auto aim. And that's it. Again, this was all tested on PS5 and PC with a controller. If you're on keyboard and mouse, you're probably wondering what all the fuss is about. But for my fellow controller players, especially in Grace's first-person mode, these tweaks made a huge difference for me. If you boot up Requiem and the aiming feels perfectly fine, I'm genuinely happy for you. It means you're normal. But if your brain is broken like mine and you can't enjoy a game until every slider is perfectly tuned, then I hope this helped. For more on Requiem, check out our other guide videos. And for everything else in gaming, stick with IGN.